Here I stand, light-footed at the edge of the world, unchained, untethered. The soles of my feet barely touching the ground. Gravity's becoming cloudy now. Nothing is holding me back anymore. In truth, only one thing would. It always was and is and will always be my choice alone that ever could. For what I choose to surround will either free or bound, and the choice for either one is within me found. Here I stand now, light-footed, the very edge of the world. I'm unchained, untethered, the tip of my toes barely touching the ground. Gravity is losing me now. One by one, they all fell away, everyone and everything. During those times I felt my life was a joke, all areas just more suffering. My hands were burning and my feet were on fire, 'cause of what and who I held and where I long stood. But as I breathe my last sigh, raise my gaze to the sky, I ascend now within to my good. Here I am now, lighthearted, no longer part of the world. I'm reclaimed, reconnected. The sight of the ground can no longer be found. Gravity has no claim on me. Gravity, eternal presence. I am the Word made flesh. I am the silence behind the sound. I am the stillness beneath all movement. I am love, you are love, we are one. Only love is real. I see you, I hear you, I know you. I love because I am. I create
Hit the wrong controller. I meant to turn the volume down, but I moved the track back. All right. I am back for the third time today. Welcome back to the Go Dome, formerly known as, and if you prefer, still known as Ghost-Rose. Luis Castillo is warming up on the mound for the Mariners right now. Maybe you could say that Castillo is the Mariners' Framber Valdez. If you have no idea why I would say that, just take a look. Of course, Framber did take out his extensions recently, so he doesn't have the hair that Castillo has anymore. But Framber did perform better after he cut the hair off. We're going to jump right into the game pretty quick. I'll give you the lineup as we go along. Gleyber Torres is at the plate. First pitch, 95 inside. Some sun in the camera. It looks like that. It looks like mist on the screen, but I think that's just the sun in the camera. That's not my screen, trust me. 1 ball, 1 strike to Torres. 96 up and in. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Castillo comes in with the 1-2 pitch. Little high and outside. 2-2 is the count. Kerry Carpenter is on deck for the Tigers today, and Riley Green batting third. Torkelson is the cleanup hitter. Here's the pitch, the 2-2 fouled back. 97-mile-per-hour pitch. Keith is the DH. Dingler batting 6th. McKinstry batting 7th. Baez batting 8th, and Meadows batting 9th. Torres fouls it off again. Here comes the next pitch. 86 miles an hour inside. Another foul ball. 7 straight pitches from Castillo. This will be the 8th. And it's just a 2-2 count. Torres really making him work right now. Here comes the 2-2 toss. Swing and a miss on the lower outside. He gets the strikeout finally, but Torres makes Castillo work for it. 8 pitches just to get 1 out. For those of you who may not have seen the game between the Yankees and the Blue Jays, it was crazy. Kerry Carpenter at the plate takes that first pitch 97 miles an hour outside. Hey, Daryl. Absolutely. What a game by the Houston Texans, he says. Absolutely. You're right. It was a great game. It was fun to watch, fun to call. 88 miles an hour in the bottom of the zone. Strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Carpenter. 252 batting average and 788 OPS during the regular season. Postseason, he's 5 for 15 with a homer and 3 RBIs. Daryl says it's going to be another battle today. It might be. If both pitchers do well, it's definitely going to be a battle. We'll see. Here's the toss. Fouled back. That one almost took out the camera. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The crowd is cheering, standing up, hoping for another strikeout here. Here comes the pitch, the 1-2. That one's in the dirt, but he fouls it off. I didn't have enough time to take a nap, but I was able to make myself some eggs. 86 low and inside. 2-2 is the count. With one out, nobody on here in the top of the first. I made myself a 4-egg omelet, a nice runny omelet. Here's the 2-2 pitch in the dirt inside. Full count. I had a few pieces of roast beef, sliced roast beef, peppered roast beef, and add a few peanuts to go with it. And I've got another cup of coffee right here. 97 inside, ball 4. Castillo up to 15 pitches for the first 2 batters. He's got 1 out, 1 walk. Thank you for all joining today. Thank you, all of you. Thanks to all of you. I'll get it out right. You're going to have to forgive me. I've been up since 1:30 this morning. Here's a pitch. 96 miles an hour. It is 9:08 a.m. here in Hiroshima. This is the 3rd game that I've done today, with no real breaks in between. Very short breaks. Here is the 1-0 pitch. High and outside, ball 2. I got up early, 1:30, to do the Texans game at 2 o'clock a.m. my time. They started at noon in Central Time in the U.S. As soon as that game ended, I had to jump right into the Yankees-Blue Jays game, and that game ended just a little while ago, about 40 minutes ago. That's crushed to right field. That is a bomb, but foul. Wow. Riley Green, definitely a dangerous hitter. There's a reason why I chose him to be on the thumbnail. 2 balls and 1 strike. With a runner on first, just 1 out, rather. 96 fouled away. The count's even, 2-2. A little bit of a difference between right-handed and left-handed batters averaging versus Castillo. 278 versus 212. Here's the pitch. This is hit out to left field. Should be playable. Rosarena's over, and he puts it away for out number 2. Carpenter ventures back to first base. And that is 1 lobster created for the Tigers. Let's see if the Tigers do the same thing as they did in the past several games. Get a ton of guys on base, but have trouble scoring them. And if the Mariners do the same thing as they've been doing, have trouble just getting guys on base, period. Here's the first pitch to the next batter, Spencer Torkelson, and that is outside for ball 1. Daryl says, I kept dinner simple today. Had Sloppy Joe. Oh, man, I haven't had a Sloppy Joe in I don't know how long. You know, the Manwich, is it the Manwich Sloppy Joe? I haven't had that in years. 96 miles an hour on that outside corner. Strike 1. The count's even. 7:09. Yep, that's right. Couple hours ahead right now. Whenever daylight savings comes around, it'll be a 3-hour difference. Here's a pitch. A little low and outside. The crowd wanted it. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs. Carpenter at first base. 23 pitches now for Castillo. Here's the 24th. Swing and a miss. 95 miles an hour. Strike 2. Happy Monday to you, Daniel. Thanks for coming in and saying happy day and then leaving. That's all you ever do. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights has been coming into my channel, I think, ever since I started, just to say happy Sunday, happy Monday, happy Tuesday, and then immediately leaves. Never says Arena, and it is 3 up. I'm sorry, 3 down. 4 up and 3 down, rather. No hits. No runs. Just 1 walk by Castillo. But he gets out of it. And the Tigers come away with nothing. The Mariners will be up at the plate in just a moment to face Scooble. If I seem to struggle a little bit, it's just because I haven't had enough sleep and I've been up too long. That's all. Actually, that's 2 lobsters in total, JD. 1 runner on, but 2 opportunities missed to bring him in, so that's 2 lobsters. Because lobsters are not about the number of runners, it's about the number of opportunities missed. So in this case, you could say that a lobster gets caught in the trap, right? And then a fisherman on the boat tries to bring it in, but he fails. And then the next fisherman tries to bring the lobster in, the same lobster, and he fails. So that counts as 2. The lobster is different than a stranded base runner. So you can say in the first inning, there's 1 stranded base runner, but 2 lobsters. Does that make sense? I almost said "wakarimasu ka?" It's Japanese. It means, do you understand? If you don't understand, it's cool, but it's a little different than the runner stranded at the end of the inning. Thank you for being here. It looks like we got about 37, almost 40. Make sure you like the live stream. I'd really appreciate it. I have put quite a bit of time and, yeah, even money, but mostly a lot of time and some money into building my code out and working with these APIs and connecting to various websites and everything to try to get a really nice scoreboard and to get everything updated. And I still have more work to do, but as I continue to build out the channel and tweak it more and more and more and make it an even more awesome experience for everybody, I appreciate your support. At the very least, a like on the live stream would be helpful. Scooble is on the mound for the Tigers, or as Ed Orgeron of LSU would say, Tigers, Tigers. He's a very difficult guy to mimic. Here's the toss. First pitch from Scooble's a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, up and out, ball 1. Thanks, Daryl. I appreciate that. Here's the pitch. 97 inside. That's a strike. 1-1. One ball, 1 strike to a Rosarena. Here's the toss. Grounded to the shortstop, and it's going to be through. Between the shortstop and second baseman, they didn't have anybody there. Between the shortstop and the second base bag, nobody was playing. Second baseman was actually closer to it. He dove and couldn't get to it. First hit of the game goes to Randy Rosarena. You have the first hit. 59% chance to record 7+ strikeouts for Scooble today. That's what they say. 97 in the top of the zone, fouled off. Cal Raleigh, the massive dumper, is at the plate. Batting right-handed against the lefty Scooble. Here comes the toss in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Shake says today was a good day. Texans won by 44. Oh, you mean they won by 34? Because it was 44-10, right? But yeah, you're right. Yankees lost by... Oh, the Yankees lost by 5. One ball, 2 strikes to the big, huge, massive dumper. Let's see here. The real MVP judge is a joke. Really? He didn't have a bad game. I mean, he wasn't stand out, but he didn't have a bad game. If you look at his stats, he had a couple of hits. I think he had an RBI. He also had a couple of walks. He didn't have a bad game. Two balls and 2 strikes with that pitch to Mr. Raleigh. Here's a pitch from Screwball. I wonder if he can throw a screwball. That's what Screwball should do. He should develop his own pitch that's like a variation on the screwball, and he can call it the Screwball. If he does that, just remember that you heard it here first. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. The big dumper becomes the big striker. Tell you what, that at bat was kind of like a big dump. Didn't smell so good. One out. Runner on first. Rodriguez at the plate. J-Rod. Drod. 97 right in there. Strike one. 267 average for the season with a 798 OPS. Almost 100 RBIs. 32 homers. Scored basically all the runs for Seattle yesterday. Didn't he? Fouls it back. 0-2. Daryl says the bats need to come alive for the Tigers. Time to get my green tea. I forgot to take my tea bag out of my coffee cup, so my coffee tastes like a mixture of Earl Grey tea and coffee. It's very interesting. Fouled back. The count stays 0-2. One out. Rosarena on first. Fouled off down the third baseline. The count remains 0-2. Daryl, do you make your tea, your green tea, the old-fashioned way, or do you use green tea bags? Here's 0-2 pitch. Low and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Is he going to throw him the screwball? I'm not going to get over that one for a while, I think. The screwball. 1-2. Here comes the toss. 98 miles an hour. Top of the zone. Fouled back again. Count remains 1-2. Screwball is now up to 15 pitches. 9 of those in the zone. Maybe 10. 10 of those in the zone. Here comes the next toss. Rosarena stealing. Here's the throw. Swing and a miss. Safe. So a strikeout at the plate. 2 outs. Rosarena barely gets in there under the tag. Are they going to take a look at it? Maybe they don't. Yeah, he's in there easy. Scooble dove on the ground to try to get out of the way of that throw. 2 outs, runner on second. Polanco swings at the very first pitch, pops it up over the third base side. Easy third out. You see him dive out of the way of that throw to second base. That's it for the bottom of the second, and for the bottom of the first, and for the first inning overall. 1 hit for the Mariners, but not able to capitalize on it despite the stolen base. No hits for the Tigers. We go to the top of the second. Castillo will be back up on the mound. They made him toss quite a few pitches in the first inning. He's up to 25 already, 15 of those in the zone. Colt Keith is due up next for the Tigers, followed by Dylan Dingler and Zach McKinstry. It's pretty interesting looking at the batting averages and the OPS of these guys compared to the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have about 5 batters over 1 OPS, and they have one guy who's almost at 1 OPS. He's like 9. I think is it Springer? One of those guys is like at 970 or something. So they basically have 2/3 of the batting order at 1 OPS or higher. It's insane right now what the Blue Jays are doing in the postseason. But when I look at the Tigers and the Mariners OPS, what I see is, okay, 2 guys in the Tigers lineup at a 1.1 and a 1.0 OPS. That's Carpenter and Keith. Everybody else is well below that. Green is at 860. But other than that, everybody else is below 700. You've got one guy at 411, another at 483, 564, 327. McKinstry's OPS is only 327. Baez at 688 and Meadows at 544. As for the Mariners, you've only got 2 players, Raleigh and Rodriguez. Raleigh is at 1 even. Rodriguez 1.5. He's been doing basically all the hitting for the Mariners. But check this out. Arozarena 533. Polanco 0. Suarez 0. Naylor 200. So basically 2. Garver 0. Robles 0. Crawford 0. Okay, I see what's going on here. Well, that's still terrible compared to the Blue Jays. It's absolutely terrible. Blue Jays are just blowing it out of the water right now. They are destroying the Yankees, not just today's game, but yesterday's game. 2 pitches from Castillo to Keith. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. One ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. Top of the second. Let's get her gone, get her done, get her going or something. Low and outside, 2-2. Here's a 2-2 pitch in the dirt, 3-2. Castillo now up to 30 pitches. Still looking for his first out in the inning. Here's the toss. High and outside, ball 4. That's another walk. That's interesting. Shortest extension among pitchers, Castillo's is only 5'4". That's crazy. The pitcher that tossed today for the Blue Jays, his extension is like 7'1" or 7'2". That's nuts. That's in there for strike 1. Here comes the pitch. Dingler hits that one up in the air. The center field shallow. Second baseman is out. Keith stays on first base. Dingler goes down and McKinstry's up next. They're talking about the release point. Talking about the release point of Castillo. Here's the next pitch. McKinstry fouls it off on the left side. Out into the crowd along the third base side. 0-1 is the count. 259 batting average and a 771 OPS for the season. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That's high. JD, you're right. If you keep walking the lead off, it'll eventually bite you. Yeah, you just can't keep walking, guys. That's 2 innings in a row. Here's the pitch, the 1-1 outside. And it's not just that. Castillo is throwing a lot of pitches. He's not doing the Mariners any favors by throwing so many pitches outside the zone. If the Tigers continue to be patient at the plate, they could knock him out of the game pretty quick. 96 fouled off at the top of the zone. 2-2 is the count. The crowd slowly comes to their feet as they start playing some music to let them know, hey, wake up. It's 2 strikes. Here's a pitch. Ooh, just barely inside. Almost got the strikeout there. That was a dangerous pitch to be taken. Full count. Are they going to send their runner again right here? They do. He's off. Here's the throw. It's ball 4. He would have been in there, but it doesn't really matter. Another walk. 2 walks by Castillo with 1 out. Javier Baez comes up. I'm happy I have a break tomorrow. Woof, I need it. Break from the playoffs, break from football. I earned it today with 3 games. I'll tell you what. First pitch to Baez on the way. He shows a bunt and misses it, and that's a foul tip into the glove of Raleigh. 0-1 is the count. That's right, JD, making Castillo really labor. Here's the toss. 96 up in the zone, fouled off, 0-2. 41 pitches for Castillo. Keith and McKinstry on base with 1 out. First ball of this at bat. 1-2 is the count. Hey, Brooke, how's it going? Welcome in. And you are welcome. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you supporting the channel, listening in, viewing, liking the live stream, etc. Low and outside. That'd be ball 2. The count is even. I've been doing the live streams all day long. I did the Texans Ravens game, and I immediately started the Yankees Blue Jays game, and now I'm on to this one. That's tapped up the middle. Raleigh's going to grab it and throw to first base, but that advances the runners to second and third. Two runners on, 2 outs. Raleigh's going to come out and have a little chit-chat with Castillo. Castillo. Got about 43 people listening in or following right now. Wherever you are, thank you for following the live stream. I do appreciate it. For those of you wondering why I'm not showing the full game or why I'm not showing longer than a few seconds on my clips, I think you should probably understand that because of copyright claims. Castillo is facing Parker Meadows at the plate with runners on second and third. Here's the first pitch. Fouled off, 96 miles an hour. Strike 1. Oh, so the scoreboard is ahead of me again, I see. Here comes the next pitch. Right in there, 96 miles an hour. Strike 2. Daryl says, I found me some ginger snaps. Congratulations, Daryl. Omerito. Omerito gozaimasu. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. High. Ball one. 1 and 2 is the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 on. Castillo up to 48 pitches with this next toss. Here's a pitch. Outside, did he go? They say he did not. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I was close, but he didn't go. It was a good call. Castillo thought it was a strike, but it was not. Bounced foul down the first base side. Count remains 2 and 2. The Tigers trying to figure out a way to drive some runs in early on here in the top of the second. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 runners on. Here's a pitch. Meadows fouls that one off. Goes into the crowd. Hey, Rusty Gamer with the $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. That's your second of the day. Thank you so much. Two balls, 2 strikes. Castillo looking for the signal right now. Here's a pitch. Swing and a miss. He gets a strikeout right down the middle. Castillo puts him down and gets out of the jam. So the Tigers were threatening. They had runners on second and third, but they wound up stranding them. Once again, I mean, the Tigers really struggle with that. I mean, they have really been struggling. When they played the Guardians, I don't know how in the world, I mean, really, to be honest, I don't know how they beat the Guardians, and I don't know how they beat the Mariners. Because when you actually look at the amount of guys that they leave on base, it's insane. Now, if they were scoring a decent amount of runs and they were leaving a lot of guys on base, it would make sense to me. But when you're leaving a lot of guys on base and you're only scoring like 1 or 2 runs, 3 runs, how can you expect to keep winning games? You know, you have to rely heavily on your pitchers, and you just can't do that all the time. That's what the Astros were doing earlier in the year when Fromber was pitching really well and Hunter Brown was pitching really well, and we had a couple of other pitchers who were, you know, they weren't aces, but they were filling in. The Astros were relying so heavily on those pitchers that it was insane. They were actually able to get to number 1 in the division and get up by about 10 games. I mean, they were rolling, but then after the All-Star break, everything fell apart. And why is that? It's primarily because of the hitting, because the hitting became bipolar. One game they would score like 7 or 8 runs, or do what they did to the Dodgers, score 18 runs and completely sweep them at home in Los Angeles, and then turn around and get swept in 4 games at home, at their own home in Houston, by the A's. That's so bipolar. That's so bipolar. It's crazy. But the Tigers are doing that, and I don't understand it. It just, some of these things, these problems, they remind me of the Astros. So similar. Goose is here for fall. Oh, man, I think I had to sneeze. Goodness. I'm glad that I had time to hit the mute button because that was pretty loud. Brooke says we used to be really good at scoring when we have guys on base, but we've been really bad as of recently. I guess you're talking about Detroit. You're a Detroit fan? I think most of the viewers here are pulling for Detroit over Seattle. That's fouled off. Eugenio Suarez is at the plate. 228 for the season, 824 OPS. He's got a lot of thump, and a lot of RBIs, but his batting average is really bad. So his production is good, but his average is terrible. 1-1 to Suarez. Here comes the toss. This is hit hard out to left field, left center. It's going to be played by the center fielder. What is it about the camera angle there that makes it look like it's going out into left field and it goes out into center? Maybe it's could be my glasses. I broke one of the arms of my glasses earlier. Gonna have to go to the dollar store and buy another pair. This is why I don't buy reading glasses, nice reading glasses anymore. I just buy them at Daiso. Daiso's a Japanese dollar store. Naylor swings at the very first pitch and grounds it to the first baseman who steps on the base. Is that Torkelson? Over at first? Yes, I got it right. It takes some time to get acclimated to teams that aren't your team. I know the Mariners a little bit better because they're in the Astros division. Don't know the Tigers as well, just by position. Here's the pitch. 2 outs. Skubal on the mound for the Tigers, and that's a strike right in there. A little bit of fire on the fastball. 0-1 to Mitch Garver. Here comes the next pitch. The pitch to Mitch is a strike. 97 miles an hour right in there. Back-to-back fastballs. 0-2. And he calls timeout. Probably a good idea. Daryl says the Astros coaching could have been a little better. But yeah, I agree. And I think that the Astros need to make some modifications in every single area of the team. They don't need a massive overhaul, but they've got multiple problems. Players need adjustments. Pitching and batting coaches need adjustments. Espada needs to make adjustments. Dana Brown needs to make adjustments. Everybody. Medical staff. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. 99 miles an hour. Strike 3. 4-pitch strikeout. And that's it. That is the end of 2. We are all goose eggs for the score. No errors, no runs. But the Mariners have 1 hit. Count them, 1 hit. The Detroit Tigers have just as many hits as I have girlfriends. And actually, if they had just as many hits as I have ex-girlfriends who want to be girlfriends again, then they'd have like 3 runs or 3 hits. Just to be silly. What is it about my what that is a good question though. What is it about my ex-girlfriends? They wait a couple of years. We haven't been together for a couple of years and they start contacting me. Would you believe I've had 3 ex-girlfriends do that? One of them messaged me again this morning. She's in China. She and I haven't been together in like, my gosh, over 8 years. I'm not kidding. I'm absolutely not kidding. And she still wants to get back with me. She got remarried after we broke up and then got divorced a year later and started messaging me again. But by that time, I was in Japan. That's crazy. I don't get it. We got a commercial break going right now. 53 watching. Thank you for being here. Please like that live stream. And if you're like, nah, well, then I will tell you, you must like the live stream. If you don't, I will come to where you are and I will take something to you that is of low value. I'm warning you, I will do it. You know what? You'll be asleep and you'll wake up the next day and you'll realize something is missing, but you'll never know what it is. You know why? Because it will be something that you would never miss. Just letting you know. If you don't like the live stream, I just might stop by your house in the middle of the night and take a pebble from your front yard. I'll do it. And you know what? The law will never catch me, and you won't be able to prove anything. And even if you could prove it, what are they going to do? Hmm? Nothing. That's right. I'm just letting you know. It's not a threat. Just it's just a mild warning. Castillo back on the mound. First pitch. 93 miles an hour. Strike one. Here's the toss. Fouled off. 94 miles an hour. 0-2's the count. Dirty laundry. Daryl says, I want a girlfriend, but don't want the stress. If you're in Japan, you can just pay for a girlfriend. Swing and a miss, 96 miles an hour. Torres goes down. That's another strikeout for Castillo. Kerry Carpenter comes to the plate next. Can you imagine, though, stealing somebody's laundry? Swing and a miss, 82 right in the bottom of the zone. Strike one to Carpenter. One out, nobody on here in the top of the third. That's actually a thing in Japan, though, Daryl. The women have to be careful about hanging their laundry outside because some guys, you know, they are very, very perverted. They will steal certain garments, you know what I'm saying? So the women are particular about where they hang their clothes to dry. It is a problem in Japan. 0-2 is the count. Here comes the Polanco, makes an excellent defensive catch on the scoop. A line drive, one hopper. I want to see a nice replay close-up of that. 2 down. He didn't even close his eyes on that. Wow. That was nice. Riley Green is at the plate, takes the first pitch up and inside for ball one. 2 away, nobody on. 0 for 1 with a flyout in the first inning. Swing and a miss on the next pitch. 86 below the zone. 1-1 is the count. They love you long time. Maybe so. That quote from that movie, though, it is not from Japanese, but it is Asian. This is hit out into center field. Rodriguez is underneath it, and he puts it away for out number 3. 3 up and 3 down for Castillo in the top of the third. A much easier inning for him there. And he needed it because he is up to 60 pitches. He's averaging 20 pitches per inning. It's interesting how they have these retired baseball players opening up these old packs of cards. That must be very nostalgic. Do any of you watch the NFL? Did you watch any NFL games today? I do have an NFL scoreboard that I show sometimes, so if you're interested in checking out any of the scores, you can see those on the screen right now. We're still on break at the moment in between innings. It's in the middle of the third. Seattle will be up to bat in just a moment. Skubal is due back on the mound. He's up to 25 pitches. He has thrown less than half. Of course, he hasn't pitched quite as many innings yet as his predecessor or his opponent, but he should fall well short of where Castillo is. Yeah, that was a big game. I was sad to see the Bengals lose, but it's kind of because I like Joe Burrow. I really like Joe Burrow. I don't care about the Bengals so much, but I like Joe Burrow. Unfortunately, I think Burrow's not playing right now. Didn't he get injured again? Poor Burrow. They just seem to like to attack him, I think. Yeah, and the Broncos beat Philly. That's right. The big game for me today was the Texans game. That was an awesome game. Great offensive game, perfect on offense, perfect on defense. Just all around good game. I really enjoyed it. It was worth getting up at 134. Daryl says, go Jags. 25 pitches for Scooble today, 19 strikes in the zone. He's back on the mound, and he will be facing Victor Robles for the first batter. Here comes a pitch. 98 in the bottom of the zone, fouled off, strike one. The Scooble is a little difficult to get the bat on. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Way high. Scooble sends the elevator all the way to the top floor and then some. 1 ball, 1 strike. 245 batting average for the season for Robles. Here's a toss. Ooh, we almost hit him on the inside. 97 miles an hour. The crowd boos. 2-1. Yeah, the Colts went kind of crazy. Can you believe that the Titans came back and beat the Cardinals? That's the game that really blew my mind. That really blew my mind. 3 balls and 1 strike. Little bit of a lost control by Scooble. Let's see what he does right here. That's right in the zone. 98 fouled away. Full count. Hey, John Tremansky, is that how you say your name? That's a pretty cool name. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you found me. I'm glad that I found you as a subscriber. Here's the pitch. Blowing outside, 100 miles an hour. Just barely missed that corner. And that's going to be a walk for Robles. First walk of the day for Scooble. "17 strikeouts," they said, for Scooble in the postseason, and every single one was a swinging strikeout. 97 miles an hour right in there for strike one. J.P. Crawford at the plate. Lefty on lefty crime happening right now in Seattle. Whoa, a foul ball into the Detroit dugout, and they're waiting to see if everybody's okay. Did that hit somebody? Scuba's still looking over there to see if they're okay. They're saying it might have got Chris Paddock. Scuba's still concerned about that. He's still looking over there. All right, here's the 0-2 pitch. He seems to be all right, though. Crawford fouls that off and stays alive. 99 miles an hour inside. Yeah, he's okay. He was way down in there, and they were worried about him, but he comes out with a smile on his face, so he's okay. Yeah, you can see they went right in there. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Crawford. Robles was stealing on that play. He's going to have to go back to first base. He hung on to the ball. That's funny. Interesting. No outs. Robles on first base. Crawford at the plate with an 0-2 count hanging in there. Here's the toss. Swing and a miss. 89 on the changeup. Low and inside. Good pitch by Skubal. He gets the strikeout, and that is out number 1. Robles stays on first base. Beautiful pitch, and I need to clean some of the smudges off my glasses. Next batter is Arozarena, top of the batting order. Top of the batting order to you. That misses for ball 1. Yeah, Daryl, the Titans found a way to win. That's crazy, isn't it? They came back from behind, too. They were down at least 2 touchdowns. Here comes a 1-0 pitch. 99 outside, 2-0. Skubal seems to be kind of fluctuating right now between good control and a little out of control. Losing his spot. There's the pitch. Check swing, did he go? They say he did, and that'll be strike 1. 2-1 is the count. Your mom's from Northern Ireland? I love the Irish accent on a woman. I think it sounds wonderful and lovely. Disengagement and a toss over to first base. Not a serious throw. The crowd boos. Boo, boo, how dare you? 2-1 count. Here's the toss. 99 on the inside edge. Rosarena lifts up his arms like it's inside. It was inside, but not that far inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the 2-2 from Skubal. 100 miles an hour, fouled back. Charlie is calling for a double play. Is he going to throw the Skubal? Here comes the toss. Taps it foul, stays alive. 2-2. Mariners getting Skubal to slowly increase his pitch count. He's up to 42 now. Still about 18 behind where Castillo is. Another lob over to first base. Not a serious throw. This is 2 disengagements for Skubal. Robles doesn't run. Rosarena hits this out into left field high, and that should be easily playable by Green, and it is. Out number 2. Cal Raleigh comes to the plate, struck out in the first inning. First pitch from Skubal on the way. Lined straight towards the shortstop, Baez, and he catches it. 1 pitch to Raleigh, and he lines out for the 3rd out of the inning. We are done with 3 innings of baseball. Nary a run on the board. 1 hit for the Mariners. A couple of walks in this game. 1 walk for the Tigers. 2 walks for the Mariners. Mariners have the only hit so far, but nobody has been able to get a run on the board. And we are a third of the way through this game. 57 people watching now. I appreciate you being here. It seems that the numbers have gone up a little bit. Maybe it's because it's later in the day. Perhaps. Charlie wishes that Cal Raleigh is an Astro, or thinks that he should be an Astro. Yeah, I would love to visit Ireland. I know a guy that went there and he did the typical thing where you kiss the Blarney Stone. I think you have to go up very high and then you have to lean over the edge to kiss it, right? I don't know all the exact details, but he was describing it to me years ago whenever we were in China. He took a vacation over to Ireland and he told me about the way you have to kiss the Blarney Stone. It's like way up high, and then whenever you want to kiss it, you have to get down on your hands and knees and lean over the edge to be able to reach it and kiss it. Pretty interesting. But I don't remember why. I don't remember why you kiss it. Is it for luck? Can't remember. Maybe somebody can tell me and remind me. I could look it up, but I'm not feeling anti-lazy enough. Focusing on the game is good enough for me right now. Did any of you see the Yankees Blue Jays game earlier? That was pretty crazy. It's funny because the Blue Jays were destroying the Yankees. They had a young pitcher who has thrown less than 15 total innings in the MLB, and he just completely owned the Yankees and threw a no-hitter for 5 1/3 innings. And by that time, the Blue Jays had scored a ton of runs, and then they pulled him out. And as soon as they pulled him out, the Yankees just started lighting up the Blue Jays, and they wound up scoring 7 runs. They were mounting a comeback. First pitch is a strike. Castillo back on the mound for the Mariners, facing Torkelson. Spencer Torkelson. Let's see how much torque he can put on his bat. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. The gift of gab. Here's a 1-1 pitch. 96 right in there, bounced foul down the third baseline. Detroit Tigers leading this best 05 series 1-0. They only need 2 more wins. The Mariners are going to need 3. Here's the toss. This is hit out into center field. Rodriguez is underneath it. J-Rod puts it away, as only J-Rod can. Wow, that's crazy. 25 pitches in the first, 26 pitches in the second, 9 in the third. They really worked Castillo in the first 2 innings. 51 pitches. That's nuts. Here's the pitch. Speaking of pitches, Colt Keith at the plate. He fouls it off over the dugout. Oh, and 1 is the count with 1 out, nobody on. Top of the 4th. I could use an Irish girlfriend. What is unique about having an Irish girlfriend apart from the accent? I think if I met an Irish woman who seemed kind, all she would have to do is speak, and I would have to marry her. That's how much I love the accent. I used to listen to NPR when I was very young. On the weekend, I think it was maybe Sunday night, they had something called the Thistle and Shamrock. I don't know if they still have it or not. That first pitch to Keith is outside. No, that's the second pitch. My bad. What am I thinking? It's 1-1 with 1 out. Here comes the next toss. That's hit out to right field. Robles is underneath it, and he catches it. No problem. 2 up and 2 down. But the Thistle and Shamrock show on NPR late at night. It was like on a Sunday night, I think. It was just Irish Celtic music. And the lady that hosted the show was Irish, and she had the most wonderful accent. I've never seen a picture of her that I'm aware of, but I thought she must be the most beautiful woman on earth because she had such a lovely voice. 0-1 is the count to Dingler. Here comes the 0-1 toss. J-Rod again. 3 fly balls. Center, right field, center. 3 up and 3 down. Another good inning, just 9 pitches in that inning. So after having a ton of pitches in the first 2 innings, Castillo comes back with 2 9-pitch innings. He's up to a total of 69 pitches. Skubal is due up next. He's at 44 pitches. Let's see who he's going to be facing. J-Rod, Jorge Polanco, Eugenio Suarez. That's the lineup. No errors, no runs, 1 hit for the Mariners, and that's it. The most action in this game so far has been a few walks. The Mariners have managed to get on base 1 time with a walk. The Tigers have 3. They've been able to get on base 3 times with a walk. But they haven't managed a single hit. Three and a half innings, a ball gone by. Let me take a look at the MLB scoreboard here. We can do a recap right quick. Hey, I know that game. I think somebody's calling that game right now. Let's see. Yeah, there's that Texans-Ravens game. How about that? 44-10. Go Texans. And the Spankies and the Blue Jays, 7-13. Big game. 20 runs in that game. That's nuts. Pretty amazing stuff right there. I think the commercial breaks are almost over. Now we got to have one more quick commercial break, of course. You were talking about girlfriends and stuff, Daryl. I was going to tell you, you probably know this though. I was supposed to have a date yesterday, and I wasn't going to do the Mariners game, the Mariners Tigers game, because I had to leave for a date, but she canceled at the last minute. She got worried. She's Japanese, so she got worried that it would be too difficult for us to date because she doesn't speak English. I speak intermediate Nihongo, or Japanese. 1 ball, no strikes from Skubal to Rodriguez. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. He fouls that one off, 1-1. 98 miles an hour on that fastball. But that's happened to me several times. I've gotten used to it. Sometimes some Asian women are very interested in going on a date, but then they get really, really nervous. And whenever you plan a date, they cancel it at the last minute. 2 balls and 1 strike to Rodriguez. That one was a little high, 98 miles an hour. Because they get to thinking about it and they think, oh, it's too difficult. You know, the cultures are too different. The language is too different. And they just give up. It's common. Here's the 2-1 pitch. This is out into right field. Is it going to drop? Carpenter comes into the line. It's just foul. Bounces into the stands. J-Rod misses a hit by a few feet. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Look at that picture of Skubal. Seattle University. That's interesting. So he's pitching for Detroit, but he went to Seattle University. Traitor. Ninth round pick in the 2018 draft. 2024 AL Triple Crown. 2024 Cy Young, of course. Woo, inside 101 miles an hour. J-Rod kind of had to back out of the way a little bit. The count is full. Bottom of the fourth, nobody on. Full count to J-Rod. Here's the pitch from Scooble. Nope. J-Rod backs out. He wants none of it. Tries to break his rhythm, I guess. Scooble looks for the call. Looks like he's got what he wants. Here comes the full count delivery. This is hit straight up in the air. It's going to be on the infield. Torkelson comes over and grabs it. Out number one. Scooble wins that little battle. Jorge Polanco comes up next. BBC Radio, Ulster Radio. I don't know Ulster Radio. What's special about that? Or why do you listen to it? I would love for the Astros to get Cal, JD says. I wouldn't mind it. 99 outside. One ball, no strikes. Here comes the toss. 88 below the zone, 2 balls and no strikes. Polanco takes a couple of good pitches. Good takes. Can you imagine having a catcher who is good on defense and great on offense? That's hit out to left field pretty deep. It might be gone. It's all the way back. It is gone. Polanco takes 2 pitches and then launches on the third one to left field. Scooble gives up a home run, and it's 1-0 Mariners. Jorge Polanco, 392 feet, 103 miles an hour. I wasn't expecting to see that. Not from Polanco. I mean, not that he can't hit homers. I just was expecting it to come from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Next batter is at the plate. Eugenio Suarez. Polanco still celebrating. One and 0. Outside. Ooh, they call that a strike on the outside edge. He acted like he was going to stab somebody with it. That was funny. Second hit of the game, and a big one it is. 87 mile per hour pitch on the outside. Ball 2. Suarez is 0 for 1 today. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on the outside. Nice changeup. The count is even, 2-2. JD says change the logos. Whoops. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong overlay. There it is. It's not the logos. It was just the wrong overlay. Because I had 2 games today. Game number 1 and game number 2. I had it on the wrong game. Whoa, 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 whoa. What am I doing? There we go. Here's the throw in the dirt. So Suarez is out. Josh Naylor at the plate with the 1-0 count. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, 99 miles an hour. Right in there. The count's even, 1-1. I'm sorry, Dwayne, about that. I did the Yankees and Blue Jays game earlier, so I have 2 different overlays, and I just clicked the wrong one. That's all. But thanks for mentioning it. One ball and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. Looks like Naylor is going to strike out. I see it coming. It's already popped up on the board. Here comes the pitch from Scooble. Swing and a miss, 93 miles an hour, and he gets it. Sure enough, the scoreboard doesn't lie. But Polanco gives the Mariners the lead 1-0 with that drive to left center. Right out there in the bullpen. I need to quit clicking on that overlay. I keep clicking on the wrong one. This is the first time I've done 3 games in one day. So what I have to do is I have to put up 3 different scoreboards. Just for example, this is my Texans overlay for the Texans game, right? This was my overlay for the Yankees and the Blue Jays game. And this is my overlay for the Tigers-Mariners game. So I have to click between these manually. And then, of course, I have the preview screen for the game, right? Yes, the Detroit Yankees and the Seattle Blue Jays. You guys don't know the Seattle Blue Jays and the Detroit Yankees? You don't know those teams? They're playing today. Let's see here. Brooke says a few years ago when I was in high school, I was in our marching band in Michigan and I got to play the national anthem at a Tigers versus Marlins game. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I wish I could remember which games I saw when I was in Houston because we went to the Astrodome to see them play the Dodgers and the Cubs. I just wish I could remember who was playing at that time. I could probably go back and have a general idea of it, but it'd be kind of cool to figure out which games I saw and who was playing on each of those teams, but there's just no way for me to know that for sure. I mean, with the Astros, I could probably figure out a couple of guys that were definitely on the team at that time, but with the Dodgers and the Cubs, maybe not. There's the man with the only RBI so far today. 2 hits for the Mariners, 1 run on the board. We're done with 4 innings. Oh, baseball. Castillo's on the mound with the lead. He's facing Zach McKinstry. That's hit out into left field on the very first pitch and put away by Rosarena. 1 pitch, 1 out. 52 people listening in right now. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you like the live stream. Only got 24 likes. That's not even half. What's the deal with that? A little more love, please. Arigato gozaimasu. Like that live stream. A little thumbs up. That's all it takes, a little thumbs up. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, 95. Bottom of the zone, 1 ball, 1 strike to Baez. I've had some people say before, well, I'm not able to like the live stream because I can't log in. Or I have to log in to like the live stream. Swing and a miss there. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 out, nobody on. But I think that's a very minor thing to do. Which would you rather do? Call the live play-by-play for like 2.5 or 3 hours? Or just log in to like the live stream? Which is easier? Let's be real. Low and outside, 2-2. Here's the pitch to Javier Baez. Low and outside again. Full count. Full count pitch coming up from Castillo. Baez takes it outside, just a little outside. Ball 4. Castillo is not happy about that. He walks off the mound with his back to the plate. Yeah, it was a little off the plate. 1 out, 1 runner on. Seen a lot of games in the Dome. The Reds, the Cardinals, the Dodgers. That's pretty cool. Here's a pitch. Low and inside. Parker Meadows at the plate with a runner on first. And 1 out. Another walk for the Tigers. That's 4. Low and outside. Ball 2. They still don't have a hit. I saw the Oilers on Monday night. The refs got booed for a bad call. I can imagine. 2-0 pitch from Castillo on the way. That's a strike on the lower inside corner. 2-1 is the count. 80th pitch for Castillo coming up. And they have Spaes warming up in the bullpen. Might be a double play, and he's safe at first base. A grounder right up the middle. Polanco flips it. Baez is down at second base, but Meadows is able to beat the throw to first base. That was a great catch by Polanco. Crawford is not able to get it there in time, but there was just no way. Good play to get the lead runner. 2 down. Swing and a miss for Torres. Top of the batting order for the Tigers. Gleyber Torres at the plate. 0 for 2 today with 2 strikeouts. 0-1 is the count now. It looks like he's trying to strike out again. High and outside, 1-1. Meadows on first base with 2 down. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gleyber Torres. Castillo comes set. Runners off. This is fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Meadows will go back to first base. Yeah, I love you, Blue. Houston Oilers, Houston Oilers. I still remember that way back in the day. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the toss. 95 in the top of the zone, fouled off. I wonder if we can get to 1,300 subscribers today. Getting really close. At 1.29 right now. Here's the toss. As hit right on the right side, Meadows was stealing. He's going to go all the way over to third on the hit and run steal. Torres with the opposite field hit right through the hole. We're going to have a little meeting on the mound. 85 miles an hour. 85 pitches for Castillo. And they're going to take him out. That's it. Castillo gives up 1 hit, 4 walks. As soon as he gives up that hit to Torres, he's immediately pulled out of the game. So we're going to have a pitching change. We're on a commercial break now. The Mariners come out, and they immediately point at the dugout. The dugout. There I go again. They immediately pointed the bullpen. All right. Well, what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to put the scoreboard up. And I'm going to go in here and take a quick break. get a drink. I'll be right back. Ooh. Carpenter is due up next. Kerry Carpenter is due up to face the next pitcher for the Mariners. And they have runners on first and third with 2 outs. Be right back. Yep, the crowd stands up and cheers for Castillo as he goes out. First pitch on the way to Meadows, or Carpenter rather. Meadows on third. Fouled off into the crowd. Strike one. 4 2/3 innings pitched. 1 hit, no runs, no earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Not a bad performance, but too many walks. Kerry Carpenter at the plate with an 0-1 count. He had a walk in the first inning. Here's the pitch. Runners on the corners. 96 in the bottom of the zone. Strike 2. Are the Tigers going to strand more runners right here? They've already missed 8 opportunities. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Way high and outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Carpenter calls timeout. Steps out of the box and the crowd boos. 63 watching right now. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. One ball, 2 strikes is the count with 2 outs and runners on the corners. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout right there. Castillo with a big fist pump for his comrade. Spire gets the job done. He comes in and gets that last out for Castillo and the Mariners. Once again, the Tigers strand runners on the bases in scoring position, first and third. That's 10 runners on base that were not moved around. 10 opportunities for the Tigers to move a runner around that they failed to do anything. The Mariners have missed 6 opportunities so far. So the Mariners, once again, have kind of struggled to get runners on base. relying on the home run ball to get runs. That's what the Mariners have been doing recently. Without the home run ball, they wouldn't really have anything on the board because they don't get many guys on base, or at least they haven't been recently. The Tigers, on the other hand, they seemed perfectly adept at getting guys on base. They get a ton of guys on base. There was a game they played against the Guardians. They had 29 opportunities missed where they had runners on base and they didn't move them around. That is absolutely insane. I mean, you're talking to a guy that's been doing live play-by-play literally all season long for the Houston Astros. The Astros have had so many games where they had 23, 25, 26 missed opportunities in the game, and they only scored like 2 runs, 1 to 3 runs. What that means is you get a lot of guys on base, and then you just leave them there. And it's really insane when you think about it that you put guys on base and then you have no outs, okay? Can you imagine having 2 or 3 guys on base and you have no outs? The next batter comes up, strikes out. And the next batter comes up, flies out. Next batter maybe also strikes out. The Astros had a big problem with this all year long, and it just got worse in the second half of the year. And I see the Tigers doing that, putting a lot of guys on base and not bringing them in. I mean, in 5 innings, they've already had 10 missed opportunities. That's crazy. Skubal is back on the mound for the Tigers. Mitch Garver's at the plate, and he hits it out into center field. Did he catch that ball? Wow. Good sliding catch by Carpenter. Sliding in there from right field to take away a hit from Garver. Out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 out. Victor Robles comes to the plate to face Skubal next. Here comes the toss. Whoa, that was generous. High and inside. Called a strike to Robles. 97 miles an hour. Here's the next pitch. That looked like it was in the same exact spot, but it called a ball. And it was the same speed, 97. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the toss. That's hit hard to left field, but it broke the bat. Meadows comes in from center to grab it. Completely destroyed the bat. He definitely hit it hard. I think the Tigers there and Skubal are lucky that he broke that bat because he made good contact but flew out. J.P. Crawford at the plate takes the first pitch in there, 97 miles an hour for strike 1. Daryl says, when I was 5 years old, went to the 1979 homecoming when the Oiler fans filled the dome after a playoff. The dome was rocking. Whoa, what in the world happened there? What was he trying to do? That was a long bunt on the right side by Crawford. Second baseman tried to flip it to him, and it went way over his head. Look at this. What was he trying to do? Flip it with his glove. Wow. Way over. Look at this. Ridiculous. He should have picked it up with his hand and thrown it. What was he thinking? Ridiculous play there. What in the world was that? Crazy guy. Runner on first with 2 outs. 0-1 is the count. Whoa, up and in. 1-1. to a Rosarena. What in the world was he thinking? Gleyber Torres with that play. That was the most ridiculous looking play I've seen in a while. Here comes the 1-1. Ripped foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Daryl says Houston fans are the best fans. I hope so. But after doing the live stream all year long, I've seen a lot of negativity, and I don't like it. I think there's kind of an entitlement attitude that has gone into Houston because of the success that they've had over the past 10 years or so. A lot of young fans have had it kind of easy, and they've become kind of entitled. 2 balls and 2 strikes to a Rosarena. Swing and a miss. He goes down. Strikeout. And out number 3. Skubal finishes it off. Seattle comes up with nothing. We are finished with 5 innings of ball, guys and gals. Top of the 6th coming up. This is a massively high-scoring affair, equal to the Toronto Blue Jays New York Yankees game. It's 1-0 Seattle. 3 hits for the Mariners, 1 for the Tigers. No errors. The Mariners have missed 7 opportunities with runners on base. The Tigers have missed 10 opportunities. Tigers have walked 4 times. Mariners have walked 7. Oh, I'm sorry, 1. I mean, they struck out 7 times. The Tigers have struck out 4 times. Skubal is up to how many pitches? Should be right there. There it is. Oh, actually, it was Castillo that I wanted to look up and Spear. 4.2 innings pitched, 1 hit, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Spear, 0.1 innings pitched, no hits, no walks, 1 strikeout. Skubal, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Well, the statistics were correct about Skubal. There was a high percentage that he would have at least 7 strikeouts or more today, and it was right. It was correct. We're almost back from commercial here. Top of the 6th, the Tigers will be batting again in just a moment, starting off with Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, and Colt Keith. Green is 0 for 2 today. Torkelson and Keith also have no hits. The only hit for any of the Tigers is Gleyber Torres. First pitch from Spire is in there for strike 1. 2 flyouts for Riley Green today. 0-1 count. Here comes the toss. Swing and a miss, 95 inside. Spire is ahead, 0-2. Here's the toss, the 0-2. Low and outside, 1-2. It seems to me that Toronto Blue Jays fans are pretty chill. I think that the Blue Jays fans are definitely more chill than the Houston fans. even though I am a Houston fan. I think that Houston fans have changed a lot over the years. I think I mentioned that earlier. The expression about good men. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 4-pitch strikeout to Riley Green from Gabe Spire. What is it? Weak men create hard times. Hard times create good men. Good men create good times. Something like that. That's kind of how it went for the Astros. Astros started performing well, winning games, getting into the playoffs consistently, winning the division, going to the World Series, and then fans changed. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Torkelson fouls that one off on the third base side. The count's 1-1. It looks like the Tigers and the Mariners are determined to keep these games low scoring. The Blue Jays and the Yankees are total opposite. 95 at the bottom of the zone, fouled off. Counts 1-2. Pretty crazy. 10:40 a.m. here in Hiroshima. Little cloudy outside, but sunny otherwise. 97 miles an hour, fouled off. The count stays 1-2. 97 mile per hour pitch from Spire. Spire up now to 13 pitches. Torkelson calls a timeout. Spire comes set. Here comes the toss. The 1-2. Grounded to short. Fired over to first. He had to stretch for it. Naylor was barely able to get that one. Bad throw by Crawford. But they get the out, and that's 2 away. Colt Keith is going to have a pinch hitter. A walk and a flyout for Keith today, and he's out of the game. Winfield Perez, I believe, is in. Pitching coach is going to come out to the mound. They're going to give a little update to Spire about Perez. Bizzardo is warming up in the bullpen for the Mariners. Here's the pitch from Spire. 94 right in there. 0-1 to Perez. Nobody on. 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. I'm surprised the Tigers don't have anybody to strand on base right now. Forgive the sarcasm. 95 outside. The crowd is booing. You know you're getting greedy when you start booing when the ball is 2 to 3 inches outside the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the next. But he manages to put it away. It looked like it confused him there for a moment. But that's out number 3. And that's going to be a little commercial break. We're in the middle of the 6th inning. It is still 1-0 Mariners. And speaking of the Mariners, they will be up to bat in just a moment, starting with Cal Raleigh, the massive dumper. J-Rod, and then Jorge Polanco. Polanco, the only reason the Mariners have a lead right now with the left center field home run. Daryl says, I'll always miss the Oilers, but I'll never miss Bud Adams. You and me both, Daryl. You and me both. If I could meet one football player, any one football player, that's actually a good question for all of you. If you're a football fan, what football player would you want to meet if you could meet any football player ever? Current football player or former football player, anybody, who would you want to meet? And I don't mean just say, "Oh, hi, it's nice to meet you. I'm a big fan. Can you sign this for me?" I mean, like meet them and chat with them a little bit. Ask some questions and have a little conversation with. Maybe have lunch with them or something, and just have a nice conversation. Who would you choose? I know exactly who I would choose. I wonder if you can guess. That's pretty cool. I actually would not choose Earl Campbell, and the reason is because Earl Campbell was not the guy that really inspired me when I was a kid. I was born in 75, so Earl Campbell didn't have a big influence on me until I got older and I realized who Earl Campbell was. I grew up watching Earl Campbell highlights and hearing about Earl Campbell, right? But I didn't grow up watching Earl Campbell. The guy that I grew up watching a few players, but the main player that I grew up watching, that's the guy that I would want to sit down and talk with. Can you guess who it is? Should be able to guess who it is. Think about it. One of you might be able to guess it. I think it's an easy guess. But he is a Houston Oiler. That's correct. Commercial break in progress. Oh, I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know. Daryl, you're right. Warren Moon. I told you it was easy. I think Warren Moon is a phenomenal guy. On and off the field, he was just a nice, soft-spoken guy and had a beautiful pass. He was just a pure passer. Cal Raleigh takes a cut at that 98-mile-per-hour fastball, misses it. Strike one. I would love to meet Warren Moon. I had a little figurine of Warren Moon. Check swing. They say he didn't go. 1-1 is the count. Do you guys remember those sports figurines that came out that got really popular back, I think, in the 80s? In the early 80s? Maybe a little later? They came out with these figurines of all these different sports players that became very popular. I had one of Warren Moon. Swing and a miss. Another big cut by Raleigh. He can't get the bat on it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I didn't know that he lived in Seattle, JD. Here's a pitch. 99 miles an hour. Swing and a miss. The big dumper becomes the big striker. That's 1 down. Skubal picks up another strikeout. He's up to 77 pitches, 53 strikes. 8 strikeouts for the Skubal. Next batter, Rodriguez lines out right off the bat on the very first pitch to Torkelson. Good catch. 2 up and 2 down. And up comes the man with the solo homer, Jorge Polanco, who polunked the ball right over the fence earlier. 1 for 2. Here's the pitch. 98 above the zone. Warren played at the University of Washington. Yeah, that makes sense, but is that where he's originally from? Did he grow up in the Washington area? I'm not sure where he grew up. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Polanco fouls it off. 97 above the zone, and the count is even. 1-1. Game. That's the whole game so far. 1-0. 1-0. Here's the toss, the 1-1. 99 on the inside. Woof. Could have gone either way. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 68. Time flies. Here's the pitch. In the dirt. You had one of Joe Theismann? That's pretty cool. Every time I think of Joe Theismann, I think of one thing, and you probably know what that is. It's terrible. I'll try not to think about it. It was gruesome. Full count. 2 outs, nobody on. Full count to Polanco. Is Skubal going to end the inning right here? Mind having on the Astros just simply because he seems to have a good attitude. I'm happy to see guys like that have a big game. Nobody else is driving in runs. He's got 2 solo homers. And all of the big names, the biggest names on the team, they haven't done anything. So, good for you, man. It's 2-0. After 6 innings, 2 home runs, 2 solo home runs by Jorge Polanco. And that's the only guy in the entire game that has driven in any RBIs. By the way, that guy right there in the advertisement, Suzuki Seiya, who's playing for the Cubs, do you know which professional baseball team he comes from? Should be another easy one if you know me. I got an Oiler cheerleader calendar. Really? That's pretty cool. JD says, you're talking about Theismann's leg. Yes, JD, that's right. Yes. That was so gruesome. I remember that. That was back in the day where they would actually show it. You know, they would show it. Nowadays, it's like, we can't show you that. We don't want to offend anybody. It's too gruesome for television. We can't do that. And we can't say certain words on TV, not even on YouTube. It's against the community policies. We can't say those words. We can't show those things. We must blur it out. We must pixelize it. We must cover it up. Nowadays, they treat everybody like they're babies and toddlers. We can't show anything like that. But back then, they showed it. And I was like, oh man. But, you know, seeing stuff like that in a game, in a football game, it was stuff like that that made my mom and dad not let me play football. I wanted to play in the receiver position, and I had the build for it. I'm 6'2". I was fast. I could jump really high. I had good hands. That's why I was good at basketball. I would have been a much better receiver than I was a basketball player. And I was even offered a basketball scholarship to play college. But I didn't want to play college ball. I wanted to play football or baseball. But I didn't go to a baseball school, and my mom and dad wouldn't let me play football. So I was kind of stuck. It was either go play basketball at a college that I didn't want to go to, or it was go a different path. I decided to go a different path. But man, stuff like the Joe Theismann injury, yeah, it was stuff like that that made my mom and dad keep me out of football. Edward Bizzardo is now on the mound for the Mariners. First 2 pitches are strikes to Dingler. Dylan Dingler, 0 for 2 today. And here comes O. Fourth player all time to have 2 home runs against Skubal in one game. Interesting. 1 out. Zach McKinstry comes to the plate. Here's the pitch from Bizzardo. Right in there, 95 miles an hour, strike 1. Houston, Texas, Dave. Hey, good to see you, Dave. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back. Monday night game, Doug says, yeah, that's right. I'll never forget that. I feel like they couldn't stop showing it either. It's totally opposite what it was today. Or what it is today. Today, it's like They won't even, they'll show it like up to that point, and then they'll cut to after it, but they won't actually show it. 83 in the bottom of the zone. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to McKinstry. 1 out, nobody on. The Mariners up 2-0. That one's low, taken for ball 2. The count's even, 2-2. Texas Dave says another Christopher Walken called game. You know, Houston, Texas Dave, I don't know what you're talking about. That's fouled down the first baseline. Count remains 2-2. The battle between Bizzardo and McKinstry continues. Jay Booner, really? Big dude. Yeah, some of these guys are big. I met a sumo champion one time, and I was actually taller than him, but he was, you would think that he's just made of fat, but I kid you not. He was full of muscle and fat. That's a strikeout right there in the dirt. Look at that. Completely tricked him. And that would be a strikeout for Bizzardo. 2 down. Javier Baez. Javi comes to the plate. Here's the toss. Swing and a miss. Another one. Dirty slider. You dirty slider. 0-1 is the count. Oh, man. LT? Lawrence Taylor. Here's the toss. To this day, he refuses to watch the tape. I can imagine. I can imagine. Injuring another player like that, you'd have to be a psychopath not to feel upset by that. Here's the 1-1. Way outside, 2-1. Texas Dave says, I'd like to see the Brewers win the World Series this year in honor of Bob Uecker. I would be perfectly happy with the Brewers to win the World Series. I'd have no... Rodriguez comes in. He stops it, but he's not able to catch it. He just kind of traps it, keeps it from going into center field behind him. And that'll be a single off Bizzardo. Javi is on first base in the top of the 7th with 2 outs. Parker Meadows, whose name, I swear, still sounds like a nursing home or retirement center. Welcome to Parker Meadows. Parker Meadows, where we take care of your loved ones so you don't have to. 1 ball, no strikes to Meadows. Here comes the pitch. 83 miles an hour, drops it in for a low strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Meadows is over 2 today with a fielder's choice and a strikeout. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Right in there. How do you not swing at that? 96 right in the center of the zone on the sinker. Or was that a stinker? Here's the 1-2 pitch. In the dirt, and he fouls it off. He spoiled a strikeout pitch. JD says Lawrence and Joe are very good friends to this day. That's good. It's nice to see sportsmanship like that. Here's a toss. Woo! How could you not call that? That was inside, on the inside edge. Man, this umpire, sometimes he calls pitches that are a little too low, a little too inside, and that one was right there. It was close. Look how close that was. 2 balls and 2 strikes, runner on first, and 2 outs. Here's the toss. That's hit high in the air. Crawford is going to take it right behind second base. Out number 3. It's the 7th inning stretch, guys and gals. Thank you so much for being here. We got about 66 people on the live stream, wherever you're listening in from. I appreciate it. Is anybody listening in from somewhere else other than the US? I'm curious to know where everybody's at. In case you don't know, I am in Hiroshima, Japan. That would be why you see the lovely Japanese ladies on my live stream. The one wearing the Texans jersey, the Go Rockets jersey, the Go Stros jersey. This is the Go Dome, baby. But unfortunately, the Astros just go home for the playoffs. Unfortunately. I think I've got some more hot water in here. I need a little more hot water. It is 11 o'clock in the morning here in Hiroshima. Blue Jays crushed the Yankees today again. Yes, they did. They are ahead 2-0 in that series. The Yankees are proving why I picked them to go to the World Series. I'm feeling a Brewers, Brewers, Blue Jays World Series. JD says Yankees are cooked. Cooked like a Christmas goose. I wonder if I should call the games like that. Would you guys and gals like that? If I called the game like that? Derek Skubal is back on the mound. He's up to 87 pitches and 60 of those in the zone of strikes. Josh Naylor will be leading it off for the Mariners in the bottom of the 7th. Naylor's performance at the plate leaves some to be desired. 0-2. He'll be followed by Mitch Garver and Victor Robles. That is your Mariners lineup coming up in the bottom of the 7th. If I speak like that, it sounds like somebody who doesn't even want to be calling the game. Like they find it disgusting. Ooh, that's hot. That's hot. Shimmy, shimmy, ya, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Can anybody tell me what that's from? If you can, I'll be shocked and amazed. It's been all Polanco all day. Polanco's Polunks. There it is. I was wondering if they're going to show that angle of him pointing the pitchfork. Well, it's a trident, but I call it a pitchfork just for fun. Yes, don't correct me. I know it's a trident. I just like to call it a pitchfork because I'm poking fun. 2-0 right now. I mean, Skubal's not having a bad game. You give up 2 runs through 6 innings. You gotta expect your team to score runs. You know what I'm saying? You gotta. Do you gotta? Yeah, you gotta. (392 feet and 369 feet, 103.4 and 101.2 miles an hour. Skubal is back on the mound. He's up to 87 pitches. This might be the last inning we see him. If he gets through this whole inning. How many strikeouts does he have? 9. Here comes a pitch. Josh Naylor at the plate. Bounces it to first base. Skubal covers for the easy first out. 1 pitch, 1 out. Easy peasy Japanesey. 62 people watching. Thanks so much for your likes on the live stream, by the way. Let me reload that and see what we've got. Should have at least 45, I think. Only have 38 likes. Need about 7 more likes. Ideally, I'd like to be over 50 likes, so let's go for 12 more. Here's the pitch from Skubal. 87 below the zone. Ball 1 to Mitch Garver. Garver is 0 for 2 tonight with a fly out and a strikeout. Here's the toss. 85 on that outside edge. Strike 1. The count's even. Yeah, Jerome, you're right. It's not from knocked up. Here's the pitch. Right up the middle. That's the 5th hit against Skubal and the 1st hit for Garver. So the Mariners have a guy on first base with 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 7th, Victor Robles comes up to the plate. Canley is warming up for the Tigers in the bullpen. I have a tendency to say in the dugout. Can you imagine the chaos that would cause? I'm sorry. Once again, I've been up since 1:30 a.m. It is now 11 o'clock a.m. This is my 3rd game. Cut me some slack. Here's the pitch to Garver. Oh, I'm sorry. Robles. That's bunted to the right side and foul. I glanced up at the screen just to see who was batting, and the names didn't change yet. And I said, wait, that's not right. Robles is at the plate. 0-1 is the count. He wasn't just sacrificing. Yeah, he tried to lay one down and take off. It was a surprise bunt. Oh, and 1 is the count with 1 out and a runner on first. Here's the toss from Skubal. Whoa, almost got him on the inside. One ball, one strike. Right under his arm. Skubal's like, woo, almost got you. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, low and outside. The thing that I said earlier, Daryl, shimmy, shimmy, yaw, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, that comes from Method Man of the Wu-Tang Clan. 99 popped on the infield, and Torkelson puts it away for out number 2. Easy. Robles is put down, and J.P. Crawford is due up next. Daryl says Tigers tie this up 2-2, then win it 3-2 in the 12th. Man, you really want the Tigers to win. But they better not go to the 12th. I don't want any extra innings. I want no extra innings. First pitch to Crawford is in there for a strike. 96 pitches for Skubal. Here comes the 97th. Up the middle, scooped up by Baez. He fires it to first, and that's the 3rd out. Crawford is out at first base. Nothing doing for the Mariners in the bottom of the 7th. We've got 2 more innings of ball at the most. Maybe an inning and a half if the Tigers can't score any runs. Top of the 8th coming up. Who's going to be batting for the Tigers? Let's see. It looks like it's going to be the top of the batting order. Gleyber Torres, Kerry Carpenter, and Riley Green. Only Torres has a hit. And these guys, in this group of guys, only 2 hits for the Tigers in total through 7 innings. Torres has a hit, and Javi has a hit. So that's it. They have a hit, and that is it. Daryl says Seattle be PO'd. Brooke says, I hope so. Yeah, I would say most people are pulling for the Tigers. It's understandable. I mean, it's interesting that the Mariners haven't won a championship, right? And they have this problem about getting knocked out of the playoffs, even when they're really, really strong. Many years back, they had, what, 116 wins and couldn't get it done? That's crazy. But despite that, it's not like the Cubs. You know, when the Cubs were in this long drought and not having won a championship, a lot of people all over the country really wanted them to go and win a championship, right? Even though I never did. I didn't care for the Cubs. My younger sister loves the Cubs, and she's very spoiled. So, because of her, she just made me really not like the Cubs. So that's why I can't accept the Cubs ever. Can't ever accept the Cubs. And but there's so many people that wanted them to go to the World Series and win because they didn't have a championship. But I don't get that feeling for the Mariners. I don't see a lot of people saying, "Oh, you know, the Mariners, they deserve it. I hope the Mariners go and get their first championship." I don't hear anybody saying that unless they're Mariners fans. Low and outside. Matt Brash is now on the mound for the Mariners. 1-0 to Gleyber Torres. Here's the second pitch. That's in there, 87 miles an hour. 1-1 is the count. It's the top of the eighth. Regular season ERA is 2.47. He's got a 1-3 record. 85 miles an hour. Fouled off. 1-2. Gleyber Torres has a single in the fifth. He's one of only 2 Tigers with a hit. Let's see if he can get something going here. Fouled off. Count stays 2-2. I haven't really asked for any subscriptions, but if you guys and gals are interested in seeing more of these games, I will be live streaming all of the AL games, including the rest of the ALDS, the ALCS, and then the World Series. I'll be doing all of those games. If you're not interested in the Texans games every week, I can understand that. But if you'll subscribe, you can turn the notifications on. That's outside. The crowd boos. They thought that was a strike, but it's just a little outside. That was close. It was close. Dangerous pitch to take. Right in the zone, and that's hit out to right field and just out of play into the crowd. But if you subscribe, you can turn the notifications on and get updates when I will be going live for the next Tigers-Mariners game, and the next Yankees-Blue Jays game, and beyond. Here's the toss. Up and inside, almost hit him. That's a walk. Torres comes back from 1-2 to a walk, so he'll head down to first base. The Tigers have a leadoff runner on with no outs. The dreaded leadoff walk is what they called it. The dreaded leadoff walk. Here's the pitch. 88 miles an hour on the slider right in there to Carpenter. 0-1 is the count. Top of the eighth. Runner on first. No outs. Here comes the 0-1 pitch in the dirt. 1-1. Carry Bonds. Carry Bonds. Carry Carpenter. We'll see if you're right, Brooks. Here's the pitch. Swing and miss. He was cutting for the fences right there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So far, you're half right, Brooke. Carpenter calls a timeout. The crowd is standing on their feet, clapping and cheering, probably praying. I don't see... Oh, there's one guy right there. I don't see nearly as many praying hands here as I do in New York, though. Outside, 2-2. I'll tell you what, the New York fans are the most hilarious. They must be like 99% Catholic because they act so terrible and they say and do so many rude things, but as soon as they get into a difficult situation, everybody's praying. Fouled back. 88-mile-per-hour slider in the bottom of the zone. Somehow he got the bat on it. The count stays 2-2. That's the idea of suddenly everybody gets religious. Kind of like being in wartime, right? You're in the trenches, either when you're dying or you're about to die or you're facing death. Same thing the Yankees fans do. 90 miles an hour, fouled off. Opposite field down the third base side. A little bit of a battle going on right here between Matt Brash and Carrie Bonds. Carpenter. Carrie Bonds. Here comes a pitch. High and outside. Daryl says the next Texans game will be Monday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks. Sounds like fun to me. I much prefer to do Monday Night Football because it means I can do that in the morning. I can sleep overnight. 86 miles an hour rung him up on the outside edge. Perfectly placed pitch. PPP. That's what we call a out number 1. Carpenter goes down. You got to swing at those, man. You can't let that go. You can only let those pitches go so many times before you finally get rung up. Riley Green at the plate goes after that first slider. 88 miles an hour, fouls it off down the first base side. 0 for 3 today with 2 flyouts and a strikeout. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Here's the pitch. Another one on that outside edge. Whew. That was close. It looked like the ball was 100% outside the zone, but the umpire liked it. It's 0-2. Runner on first, 1 out. Here's 0-2 to Riley Green. A little half swing, fouls it off. Kind of a nervous situation here. It's not even the 9th inning. Definitely some playoff energy right now. 0-2 pitch. Here it comes. Grounded to first. It's off his glove. Everybody's going to be safe. He flips it, but it's too late. Polanco gets over to it and flips it. The grounder's off of Naylor's glove. It trickles out towards Polanco. He runs over to grab it and flip it to Naylor, but it's too late. Riley Green gets to first base. Look at this. Naylor couldn't handle it properly, and it just gets over back to him too late. Runners on first and second with 1 out. Runner in scoring position. The winning run comes to the plate. They're going to have a little meeting on the mound. Just a really quick meeting. That's going to be an error on Naylor. Winfield Perez is due up. He's scheduled at the plate right now. He has an appointment. No. I'm sorry. Spencer Torkelson. Perez is on deck. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 89-mile-per-hour slider. I hate it when I'm about to read the information on the screen. It changes right before I look at it. Brash on the mound up to 20 pitches. Torkelson at the plate with an 0-1 count. A little outside, just barely misses, low and away. 1-1 is the count. Runners on first and second. 2 flyouts and a ground out today for Torkelson. 1-1 is the count. Here's the pitch. Woof. He chases that slider low and away. Strike 2. 1-2. Well, yeah, if he hits a 3-run homer, of course the score would be 3-2. 1-2 count. Here's the pitch. Another slider outside. He lets that one go. 2 balls and 2 strikes. This crowd just died. That ball went right down the first base. Absolutely nobody there to get that ball. Strike 3 right down the middle. Perez stands there and takes it. Got to swing at that. Can't stand there and take a pitch right down the middle with 2 strikes in the top of the 8th in an important situation like this. Runner on second in the 8th inning. Got to swing the bat, brah. Got to swing that bat. Dylan Dingler at the plate. 86 right in there. Speaking of swing the bat, maybe swing it when it's right in the middle of the plate. 0 for 3 today with a pop out, fly out, and a ground out. So Dingler has the cycle for outs. He doesn't have the strikeout yet, though. He fouls that one off. It's 0-2. He has an opportunity to complete the cycle if he gets the strikeout here. Here's the pitch. Low and outside. Did he go? They say he did. And he does. He strikes him out. Dylan Dingler completes the cycle. But Torkelson ties up the game with the opposite field hit into right field. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Suddenly, the Tigers finally drive in some runs. Randy Arozarena is due up, followed by Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez. So the very top of the batting order. No. Is that right? Let me double check. The information on the screen keeps changing. Let me make sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. For the Mariners, the top of the batting order is due up. 1, 2, 3 batters. 2-2. 5 hits for the Mariners, 3 for the Tigers. 1 error on the Mariners. We have a zeroed out reset game. Daryl, you said you called it, but what you said is if they hit a 3-run shot homer, the score would be 3-2. But there was no 3-shot homer, so what did you call? I think that you called for a 3-run homer, so I would say that you didn't get the call right. That's like going to a fortune teller and the fortune teller says you will win $1 million in the lottery. And you go, wow. So you go buy a ticket and then you win $10,000. And then you tell the fortune teller and she says, called it. Not that one. Wait a second though. Okay, I scrolled way up. They tied up 2-2 and then win it 3-2 in the 12th. You still haven't called that though. It's the bottom of the 8th. It's the bottom of the 8th. And you also changed it to a 3-run homer. Well, you said if, but still, it's the bottom of the 8th. We're not in the 12th inning. And I have a feeling we're not going to get to the bottom of the 12th inning. I really, really hope not. I really, really hope not. I think you did that the other day. You jumped the gun. You're like, I called it, but the game is not in the 12th inning. Arena, swing and a miss on the first pitch. Kyle Finnegan is in the game for the Tigers. 0-1 is the count. Now, Arena's 1 for 3 today. Here's the pitch. 98 just outside. Ball 1. 1-1. Hey, Jesse. Good to see you. Welcome back. Yeah, what do you know? They tied it up again. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss on the inside. The inside splitter gets him. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, if it's in the 12th inning and then the Tigers win 3-2, then you can say, I called it. Here's the pitch in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. 87-mile-per-hour splitter, low and away. Strikes him out. Rosarena will go sit down, and that brings up Cal Raleigh. Well, he's got the first part right, Brooke. He's got the first part right. But when you say I called it, that means that I was right about what I said. But you can't be right about what you said when it's only partially fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. But it's half right. Whether or not it will be called it is yet to be seen. Raleigh hits it out in right field all the way to the wall. That's going to be a double. Runner on second with 1 out. The big dumper doesn't come up with a homer, but they throw it right in the low part of the center of the zone, the middle low part of the zone, and he puts it all the way out to the wall. Julio Rodriguez, J-Rod, comes to the plate. There's the pitch. Ball 1 up and in from Finnegan. 1-0. Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't possible. I'm just saying that if you say, I called it, it means that you were right, and it's not right yet. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Line drive to left field. That's going to score a run. And that's why you don't say called it. J-Rod does it again for the Mariners, and it is 3-2. And the crowd is alive again. They were dead a few moments ago, and now they are once again alive. J-Rod with a double, back-to-back doubles. Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, and now who comes to the plate? Jorge Polanco with 2 home runs. It's 3-2 Mariners. Yeah, Jesse, it doesn't make me think of anything good, the big dumper. Here comes the first pitch. Low and inside, 97 miles an hour. 1 ball and no strikes. Crazy. We're getting closer to 100 people watching the game here. The guy's over there crying. What a big baby. Outside. There's a Mariners fan crying, and the woman is not crying, and she's hugging the guy like consoling him. That's definitely a Mariners fan right there. That guy must be from Seattle. 2-0. Here's the pitch to Polanco. In the dirt. Check swing. Did he go? They say he did, and that's 2-1. J-Rod on second base. There's that double splitter right down the middle. Perfectly placed. Right under the corner. Two balls, one strike. Finnegan steps off the mound. The crowd boos. One out here in the bottom of the eighth. The Mariners have back-to-back doubles. And they're leading 3-2. 2-1 pitch to Polanco. Breaks his bat and he hits it over on the left side. It's going to be no play. Infield hit. He destroyed his bat. And runners on the corners with one out. Polanco, 2 home runs and a little bit of luck right there. Look at this. Look at this bat just shatter. He's just holding the handle. He stood there for a second. He was shocked. And then he realized, oh, I need to run. Still was able to get it over to first without a throw. Look at that. That bat went all the way into the crowd. Holy freaking cow. Souvenir for somebody. Man, that's a great souvenir. A guy who hits 2 home runs in a game and then breaks his bat and it flies into the crowd. That'd be a great souvenir to have, wouldn't it? Man, if I were at an Astros game and Altuve had hit 2 home runs and he broke a bat and I caught it in the crowd, that would be unbelievable. That's just what wood does sometimes, Daryl. Sometimes it breaks. You got those balls coming in at near 100 miles an hour, and they're swinging those bats. It's easy to break them. Sometimes. Runners on the corners. Suarez at the plate. Here's the toss. Low and outside. 96 miles an hour. Ball 1. They're debating about how much longer Finnegan stays in, and they think this will be his last batter no matter what. 1 out. Runners on the corners. 1-0 is the count. Here's the pitch to Suarez. In the dirt. He takes it. Ball 2. 88 watching. We better have gotten to over 50 likes on the live stream. There should be over 60, maybe 70. We're only at 43. Come on. Should be over 50 easy. Below the zone. 3-0 to Suarez. Finnegan is behind. I would take this time to remind you to like the live stream. There are about 90 people watching right now and only 43 likes. Give me a little bit of support here. Thank you very much in advance. Swing and a miss on the 3-0 pitch. Took a big hack at it. Couldn't get the bat on it. 3-1. Crowd is on their feet. Here's the pitch. Fouled back. Polanco was on his way to second. He'll have to head back. Full count to Suarez. Full count. 1 out. Here's the toss. Ground ball to the left side. They go home and they're going to get him at the plate. Bad base running. You know, with that grounder to third, he could have faked home and gone back to third. He didn't have to run. That was terrible base running. And Finnegan's going to be taken out. They're not going to let him pitch against Josh Naylor. Finnegan's night is over. So we're on a little break right now as they change pitchers. The Mariners have runners on first and second with 2 outs. Josh Naylor due up. Walmart bat. I don't think so. That's just the way wood is, you know? Yeah, crying soy boy Seattle fan. That's exactly what it looked like to me, Jesse. That's exactly what it looked like to me. I mean, think about how crazy that is. Okay, the guy was very small and very thin. The woman he was with was bigger than him. He was crying because the Mariners took the lead back, and the woman was consoling him. I mean, if that doesn't say Seattle, I don't know what does. I really don't. If that doesn't say modern day Seattle, I don't know what does. Absolutely crazy. What a game. This is a low scoring but interesting game. Is this going to be another one of those games where the Tigers come back and win despite the wonderful efforts of one guy on the Mariners, i.e. Polanco? Just like with J-Rod giving it all of the effort for the Mariners before, or they're going to hang on and win this game. JD says, didn't Daryl call it? No, he said that the Tigers would tie it and then go ahead 3-2 in the 12th. Well, that's not possible now, and that's why I said you. Whenever it was said earlier, I called it. I said I don't remember seeing that because it's not. Oh, there it is. There. Look at that soy fan, and they show it like it's so sweet. That is so unmanly. One day she's going to divorce him and take all of his money and leave him with a bunch of child support and marital support, spousal support. That's my prediction. He's going to have 3 kids to support, but he's not going to be able to see them. And she's going to be living with her live-in boyfriend. First pitch to Naylor, low and outside, check swing. They say he went. That's strike 1. Brant Herter. Yeah, I barely went around on that pitch. Wow, come on. Come on, he barely went around. I saw it. 91 fouled off, strike 2. Brant Herter is trying his best. His Seattle's best to hurt Naylor. Runners on first and second with 2 outs. Naylor calls a timeout. Daryl says it's like a bad cup of Seattle's best. So it's Seattle's worst coffee. Yes, Jesse, absolutely. Rusty, yes, absolutely. You guys, you saw it that time, right? You seriously saw it. The guy crying. The woman took his glasses off and hugged him. Oh, ugh. Ball 1 to Naylor, 1-2. The Tigers trying to get out of this inning and come in the top of the 9th and tie it up again or take the lead. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Grounds it down the first base side, just foul. Count remains 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Herter. Naylor taps that one in the air. A half swing. What a weak swing there. It wasn't even a full swing. He just kind of stuck the bat out there and tapped it straight to the second baseman. Torres puts it away, and that's it. Seattle's back out on defense, but they take the go-ahead run again. It's 3-2. 3-2 Mariners in the top of the ninth. It boils down to this, guys and gals. Let's take a quick look at the data. It looks as if, well, currently Matt Brash is still listed as being the pitcher, but he might not be in the game. He has 31 pitches and 22 strikes in the zone, but he might not be in the game. I'll update that as it changes. But Zach McKinstry is due up to bat, followed by Javi Baez and Parker Meadows. We'll see if there are any changes. Marduk comes in with a $10 super chat. Thank you, sir. Super chats have been few and far between today. I'm going to call this the Red Lobster Unofficial Official Lobster Count Super Chat. Thank you so much, Marduk, for that super chat. I appreciate that. And let's take a look. The Tigers in this game have 15 lobsters, meaning that they've had 15 guys on base that they have not been able to move around. They've had 15 guys on base, and they've missed the opportunity to move them around even one base. Mariners have missed 13 opportunities. So very similar. The Tigers and the Mariners, very similar. 15 and 13. So they haven't been too different. The only difference is that the Tigers have been getting their lobsters regularly throughout the game. And the Mariners have gotten most of theirs later on in the game. Jesse, I don't know. I haven't lived in the U.S. in quite a long time. The last time I lived in the U.S. was early February of 2013. I'm getting really close to being out of the U.S. for 13 years. Andres Munoz on the mound. First pitch is in there for strike one, 96 miles an hour. Leo Rivas is in at second base. Polanco is out. There's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Low and inside. 0-2. Zach McKinstry is 0 for 2 today with a walk. He calls timeout. 50 likes. It should be a lot more than that, but 50 is my minimal for today. 95 people watching. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He's going to take off running to first, but he tagged him out. Got him. You can't prance like that. What is that? It's like a prancing horse, like a dancing horse. What the heck was that? Look at McKinstry here. He can't decide what he wants to do. Oh, they didn't show it. That's strikeout number one, out number one for Munoz. More praying going on. Javi Baez at the plate. Swing and a miss on the slider. Hey, JD, thank you very much. You're very welcome, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being here throughout the day for all of these live streams. I really do appreciate that. He hits it straight up in the air on the infield. Who's going to get it? Rivas takes it. Naylor called it, but Rivas comes in and takes it. A little bit of lack of communication, but Naylor backed off and let the new guy take it, the new guy in the game. 2 outs. The Mariners are 1 out away from taking this game and tying it up 1-1. First playoff victory in almost 25 years. Will they get it? 1 ball, no strikes to Parker Meadows. 0-3 today. Here's the pitch. Outside, 1-2-0. Oh, I'll get it right. 2-0 with 2 outs. I think I'm at the end of my wick right now. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs, nobody on. Jesse doesn't want the soy team to beat him. The soy prance. Yeah, that's right, JD. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 strike away. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fouled off. He stays alive. Gleyber Torres on deck. The top of the batting order for the Tigers. Parker Meadows at the plate with a 2-2 count and 2 outs. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and it's 2-3 Mariners. Here comes the pitch. Fouls it off. He stays alive. Hey, Christopher, thank you very much for that subscription. I do appreciate that. I'm interested to see if I've gotten up to 1,300 subs yet. Still looking for it. Here's the pitch. Woo! Barely fouled it off, and it bounces off of Cal Raleigh's glove. So close. Look at this. Woof. Here it comes, the 2-2 pitch from Munoz. Low and inside. Now it's a full count. Of course. Of course. It's a full count. Here we go. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here's the toss. Bouncing ball to first base. Naylor tosses it to Munoz, who steps on the base, and that is it. The Mariners get their first playoff victory in 24 years. And the series is tied 1-1. The Tigers take game number 1. The Mariners squeak out game number 2. How about that? You're welcome. You have a good night as well. Definitely need to play better. Yeah. Rusty Gamer, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. Everybody is celebrating. All of the soy boys are crying right now. We won! We won! We won! The manly men lose and cry. The soy boys win and cry. Or rather, they just get an extra run. They don't even win yet, and they cry. Just get we got to run. Cry, cry, cry. Well, it was the top of the batting order that did it for the Mariners. Back-to-back doubles, Raleigh and Rodriguez. That's what did it. That's the part of the batting order you got to get past. If you can't get past that part, and that man right there deserves MVP. You got to give them props, though. You know, Polanco, holy cow. I mean, if not for him, they would have lost this game 2-1. That's it. I thank you all for joining me today. What a game. It was close. We're going to have a break tomorrow because there's no football. There's no AL baseball. I'm not going to be doing any National League ball because I've got some friends calling those games. If you want to check out Yeah, some of these games are being done by Dr. Delay. If he's not doing the NL games, I think he might be, but if he's not, then you can check out a couple of other channels. Orioles Birdwatcher also is doing some of the games. You can check out some of them. I would love to do the stream tomorrow, but I personally just am too tired. I did 3 games today. Thank you very much, Marduk. I appreciate that. Doing the Texans game and then the Yankees Blue Jays game and then the Mariners Tigers game, I'm really burnt out. I'm done. I got up at 1:30 a.m. It is just a few minutes away from lunchtime here in Japan, so I have been up for quite a while, for nearly 11 hours. I've been doing these games. So what I'm hoping to do is actually stay up all the way through the afternoon and get to bed at a decent time tonight so I can get up at the butt crack of dawn tomorrow. And then I can get some stuff prepared and scheduled. I hope you will subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can see my next live streams. Like I said, I'm not calling the National League games. I'm going to let other channels handle those. I'm just focused on the American League because that's connected to my Astros and my audience, my core audience here. But thank you to all of you for being here today. Just listening to and watching the live stream helps my channel, so thank you for that. If you liked the video, the live stream, thank you for that. If you subscribed, extra thank you. And for those of you who sent me donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee or buy me a kohi, and super chats, super stickers, extra thank you, thank you, thank you, and arigato gozaimasu. Otsukare-sama desu. It means thank you for your hard work today. I know that it's a little late. It's almost 10 o'clock in Houston. I'm glad that you are all here. I hope you all have a wonderful night and that I will see you again in a couple of days. That's right. Thank you very much, Jesse. Thank you, everyone else. Thank you, Rusty Gamer. I'll get some rest. You do too. You get some rest too. Marduk, get some rest. JD, get some rest. Daryl, get some rest. Yes, go Astros indeed. Brooke, all of you who participated in the chat and kept it going, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again in a couple of days. But for now, it is time to go to the onsen. I'm going to go to the onsen, the hot bath, and I'm going to relax in the hot water and just enjoy the rest of the day. And then you'll see my thumbnails pop up later on when I schedule these games. But for now, that's it. It's been a wonderful day. I got through it a lot better than I thought I was going to. And I thank you all. I'm glad you had fun. Me too, Jesse. And I guess that's all I got to say. Other than arigato gozaimasu, otsukare-sama desu. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Go Stros, go Rockets, go Texans. It's the Go Dome. And I will see you in a couple of days. Until then, bye-bye for now.